You don't understand. She was really hot.
Yeah, yeah. But like really.
No, she was really hot.
But then she got
wore an ice cream cone dress. That was weird.
and this
And
thing
she exploded.
because there was this thing with the Pope, you
Yeah,
see,
you know,
and
the
so the
Pope.
Queen wanted to blow up the Pope. So really, the hot one was kind of friendly fire. Wait, but who's been running Storm's End all this time?
Courtney Penrose.
Like it really would be. There'd be a bunch of squatters in Storm's End, really. I mean, the entire Stormlands. Wait,
If I'm like Lord Swan, I'm just moving in.
Absolutely. Yeah, you think that all of the noble Stormlands houses were just sitting next to a vacant Storm's End, being
twiddling their
ungoverned,
thumbs.
just twiddling? Yeah, no way. No way.
Yeah, you really think Cersei is going to go out of her way to address the anarchy going down in the Stormlands?
Whereas in the books, of course, young Griff is conquering Storm's
Yeah,
End.
because it's vacant, basically.
Because it's kind of useful to have a giant castle that rules a kingdom. Kind of good to have in the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it so happens.
My goodness.
Yeah, no, but there's no time for that. There's
There's no time for that. We need to protect Jon's corpse.
There's no time for that.
It is the most important corpse in Westeros.
He's got a pretty good corpse.
Yeah.
And now this like standoff is taking place.
I mean, Kit Harington dead looks better than most men who are alive.
Time, Sir Davos.
So there's been
Open the door.
Can rejoin their brothers.
so Jon's been dead for 24 hours, and for 24 hours, Davos has been protecting his
Set
corpse.
the wall
Stood there,
free
yeah.
north of the wall where it belongs.
How long does it take for dead bodies to start smelling?
Nobody needs to die.
Well, in season 2, Ed told us that people fart when they die.
Yeah, true.
So for reasons of continuity, Kit Harington should be ripping some
Yeah.
loud ones right now.
Apologies for what you're about to see.
Yeah, I'm not much of a fighter.
Is Davos left-handed? Oh, of course he is.
Why? Oh, yeah, because he's a right hand lost his fingers. Yeah, yeah, that's funny.
That was stupid.
Why are you willing to die for a corpse?
Of a guy you spoke with once.
Ugh. It'd be nice if Ghost played more of a role here.
Yeah, should we talk about that? About Jost?
Yeah, tell me about Ghost.
Well, Jon is so connected to Ghost in the books. It's not even funny. And most... I'm venturing to say most fans think that Ghost will play some role in Jon's death and resurrection. Like with souls going around, because they're soul linked. He's a warg.
Melisandre has a vision of John being a man,
Yeah,
then a wolf, then a man again.
And then a goldfish, and then a bowl of petunias, and then a man again.
Hey. And Varamir says that Ghost would be a second life worthy of a king. And a second life is when a warg dies and the spirit lives on in their animal,
That's
just
right.
like Orell. It's like George is trying to tell us something.
A little bit, but nah. What happens here is Jon's just like angry at Alyssa, and then he sits by Jon's. But like, there's nothing. Again, it's just another example of Dave and Dan removing any and all magic from this story.
But I don't know why any of this needs to happen. Like, what are these scenes for? Like, is this for Davos's character development?
Oh, no way.
Is it for showing us that Alyssa is mean? It doesn't do anything for Jon's character development as a corpse. What are these scenes about?
These scenes, let me tell you, these scenes are about delivering the story from the point where Jon dies to the point where Jon is brought back to life. That is the point of these episodes.
But they literally could have just not shown any of this in the first few episodes. And
Yeah, but
just,
Jon's the main character, so they had to.
It's like they would
You need
like
to get your head in the right space.
It's the difference between having a story to tell and needing to fill runtime on a screen. That's what it is.
Welcome to season 6.
D&D were like, oh, we have to do something with Jon, and Davos is there, and Alice is mean. Let's bash those action figures together.
And
but
like,
what's it about?
so as we watch on, this conflict that Davos finds himself in is solved by a 1-1 ex machina. Like, Ed did go off to find the wildlings to help because Alistair killed the one person who, like, was representing their interests. So that makes sense that the wildlings would want to defend John's corpse. No, it doesn't. Like, John's legacy, maybe. If John were a prisoner, it would make sense.
Yeah.
If John were dying, it might make sense.
Yeah.
But John is dead.
Yeah. I am very curious to know, like, in the books at the start of the Winds of Winter, like, what exactly happens at Castle Black. Because in Castle Black, there are so many different interesting factions
So many moving
involved.
parts.
And the wildlings have just rallied behind John. So when John dies, surely the wildlings will just immediately
it's all
slaughter
going down.
Bowen.
Yeah.
And then you've also got, like, Melisandre and, like,
The Queensmen and
Val
the
and,
Kingsmen.
like, there's a lot of interesting... There's a lot of interesting people who have reasons to be against each other.
Yeah.
Davos and these guys they don't have any goals. What goals
Yeah.
do these people have beyond not letting Alistair cremate John? Like, is that what they're trying to prevent?
Yeah, no, nothing here makes any sense. We've been mercifully spared of Alice's speech, which I think is really bad for his character as well.
I killed him.
I did.
I did.
I did.
This is cute though when they're thudding on the door and then Wun thuds on the big door. That is kind of fun. But where were the wildlings this whole time? Were they just slightly south of Castle Black? Like why?
Yeah, but, well, I think it's believable that they were settled in the gift.
So what, they came all that way?
It's not that far, is it? I guess it could be considering how wide the gift is.
The Watch wouldn't want the wildlings to be super
Yeah.
close.
But maybe Tormund was nearby. I don't know.
Were they in Molestown or something?
That's weird too, isn't it? Well, that's fun.
That is fun. I do enjoy that.
And then everyone instantly surrenders,
Yeah.
except for one idiot.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. So, like, here's the thing. Like, I could respect Alistair if he was like, I must kill Jon Snow for the safety of the Watch. And I know that will probably get me killed because killing your Lord Commander
Yeah.
is frowned upon. Like, I would respect Alistair so much if he was like, you know what? Like, I accept this, do what you have to do, but I believe I did the right thing. He sort of says that when he's about to be hanged.
Yeah.
But what makes no sense is when he's like, he wants to fight on against these
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
You know? Like,
yeah.
he really, like, it makes it, it's like, think, Alistair. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Did you think the wildlings were going to be fine with this? Why did you let, what was your plan, Alistair? You know?
Have you seen my videos on season 6? Or
Yeah.
You fucking traitor.
The only traitors here are the ones who shove their knives
But, like,
into their
yeah,
Lord
why is Alistair surprised
Yeah.
by any of this?
Yes.
Thousands of years, the Night's Watchers held Castle Black
Yeah,
against
we
the
know,
wild
Alistair.
until you.
oh, Wally.
Kind of cute that Tormund spares Ollie, though.
Yeah, he could have killed him and he didn't.
I mean, in the books, Tormund has just lost his own sons.
Yeah.
where they belong.
Like, Alistair should not be struggling. He should be a bit more
Yeah.
dignified
well,
here.
yep. This is what happened.
I kind of like the sort of weirdness of, like, the wildlings conquer Castle Black after failing to take Castle Black
Yeah.
in Season 4, but now
Yeah.
they sort of get it through Jon's sacrifice, kind of?
Yeah.
There's kind of a nice poetry to it. But again, like, you know, so many people have died in this show. Why is everyone lingering over Jon's death?
Yeah.
I'll have my men get the wood for a fire.
That's the first sensible thing anyone said this season.
Yeah, right? Yeah, why is Tormund the only person who suggests that after Ed and everything Ed has been through? Ed was at the Fist of the First Men and Hardhome.
Yeah.
He knows the danger of the dead more than anyone.
But no, let's just preserve this corpse for no reason. You think John's spirit might have a battle with, you know, the forces of old god's animation of like becoming a white? Will he have to fight against that? That might be cool.
I think the minute Jon's soul leaves his body, it will be subject to many mystical forces like Blood Raven, maybe Quaithe, the old gods, the great other, the White Walkers,
Melisandre.
people with glass candles, Euron, Marwyn,
Saturn.
Melisandre, Saturn. Like there are all these mystical forces that we have seen entering people's minds and competing for people's souls. The minute John is open to those forces by being
like
a disembodied
An
spirit.
open mic night at John's corpse. Come on down.
Yeah, every mystical force is going to make their pitch to have claim over John's soul, and he's got to, pick one. I think it'll be like the books are full of crazy, trippy visions and dream sequences and mysterious magical entities that exist in the subconscious. And as soon as John plugs into that world, it's the perfect setup for change and consequence from his death.
Yeah. You know how this is an aside for sure. We have this supposed dichotomy of ice whites and fire whites.
Yeah,
Do you think there might be a secret third thing?
like a old gods one.
Yeah, in my head I've been calling it like a green white,
Yeah.
as opposed to red and blue.
A green man.
Yeah, yeah,
In the books, there are green men on the Isle of Faces, and there's all that mythology about Garth Greenhand and antlered men. But I mean, it's weird because the White Walkers are supposedly made by the magic of the old gods in some sense. So the White Walkers kind of are old gods.
yeah. But I'm just thinking, like, so ice whites, they're the spooky skeleton zombies, yeah.
Yep,
Fire whites appear to be like
more human.
people
Yeah,
who are more. They're just like bastardized versions of their living selves.
yeah,
What's Cold Hands?
yeah. Yeah, that's a good question.
What is Lady Stoneheart?
Yeah.
Is she a fire white?
Yeah, well, I think Lady Stoneheart is like Beric.
Which would mean a fire white.
Yes. Yeah, because Stoneheart is made from Beric's life force.
Or maybe we're reading too hard into an offhanded comment George gave in a single interview.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe he was just describing Beric as like, he's like a white but fire,
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that is basically what he says. Yeah, like George is not
I mean,
saying
it's not
that,
as codified as we might be making it out to be.
yeah, George in his like philosophy of magic, like he has been very explicit in saying that the magic is mysterious.
It's a bit
like
loosey-goosey.
I don't have like a set like magic system. Like it's a bit more loosey-goosey than that. Yeah. So yeah, there isn't necessarily a
So
clear.
all you Brandon Sanderson fans, like, get your hopes down.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that's a really legitimate question that you ask about, like, what are the differences between the different kinds of zombies? I mean, it's kind of funny, like you'd think that fire would consume but ice would preserve. Like that is one of the ideas
Yeah.
that's but
But
the
what
fire
we see
whites,
is that an ice white is nothing like a living self.
yeah, the ice whites are more degraded than the fire whites, which seems weird, doesn't it? But I mean,
But maybe fire is life.
yeah.
It's creation and destruction.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, maybe fire whites, like they are more human, but for a shorter time, and they ultimately must die. Like
Yeah, could
Beric,
be.
like Beric
Yeah, he
burns
loses-
out,
and even
know?
Stannis loses his life force over the course of his story.
So maybe fire whites are more alive, but less
Which sort of
permanent.
raises the question of what the hell is sustaining Melisandre. Maybe she's she's like
Sacrifice.
immortal in a like really degraded sense. Like she can go on for a very long time, but she is not her.
Well, I mean, but it's funny because, like, unlike Beric, who can no longer remember his wife's name,
Melisandre has a very distinct memory of her early life.
she remembers
Yeah.
her childhood.
What the hell is she?
Yeah. Yeah, and she is potentially like hundreds of years old.
Interesting.
I think that sacrifice might be part of what's powering Melisandre. I
Yeah.
mean, all those people that she burns alive to supposedly like help Stannis or whatever, maybe that's what's really feeding her.
Maybe it's just for her.
Yeah. But yeah, there are
Anyway.
so many different interesting zombies, so there are so many possibilities with what kind of entity John might be.
How exciting.
There is also like a perspective that maybe White Walkers are in some sense a kind of a white. Like I like the
Yeah.
idea that if the White Walkers come from the old gods, and the old gods are the spirit of the spirits of the dead stored within the trees. Maybe the White Walkers are like some of those spirits taken out of the trees and put into like an icy body. So in that sense, the White Walkers are the dead. The White Walkers are whites of a kind,
Yeah.
a more sort of advanced kind than just the zombies that they control. So in that sense, they are like preserved old souls because they have personalities. They laugh, they make things. So they're not very nice, but they are people, sort of.
Yeah.
That was the zombie corner.
I'll play a little jingle to get us out of the zombie corner and back into the snow zone.
Thriller.
But shit.
Thriller, but shit. Ugh. A lot of standing around in this sequence.
Oh,
though.
yeah. Hang on. So Tormund just went off to get some wood to burn John's body, and now we're here.
Did we maybe cut the bits where Davos is saying that?
Well, that's not a John scene, you see. But it's just Davos coming to Melisandre to ask her to try. That's all it is.
Yeah, and it so goes against what Davos stands for.
So this is the fabled sponge bath of Jon Snow.
One of the things that the show forgets about Davos is that in the books, Davos is a faithful adherent of the faith of the
Yeah.
Seven. And Davos, after the Blackwater, he believes that he hears the voice of the god, the mother, telling him that he needs to go and kill Melisandre. So, like, in the show, Davos doesn't seem to care about religion. But in the books, he's a religious man.
Yep.
He's a pious man, and that affects his decision-making.
And even in the show, he hates magic, and he hates Melisandre.
Except for this one time.
Well, it's like he seems to... When he comes to Melisandre, he's like, I don't like doing this, but hey, can you help? Can you try and help? Which is very weird, because why? Why would he think that this is even an option? Why would he want Jon resurrected? And also, he doesn't really seem to be going through too much internal conflict in making this request of her, of a witch.
I mean, Davos knows that Melisandre has power. Like it was Davos who delivered Melisandre to Storm's End to make the shadow monster to assassinate Renly and Courtney Penrose, which is not exactly the same in the show. But, you know, Davos knows that Melisandre has real power, and Melisandre has
Right.
preached about, you know, fire to make light. And so I don't think it's all that crazy that Davos suspects that Melisandre might have the power to resurrect people. But what I think is crazy is that he wants her to resurrect Jon
Yeah.
instead of Stannis or Shireen or his sons or anyone else.
Yeah. And then, you know, Ed and Tormund and all these other people. Like, what's this lady doing? We're trying to bring him back? How does he's dead?
Yeah.
Death is death.
And it's so fucking piss weak because this is the resurrection of one of the protagonists of the story. Like, it needs to make sense. Like, this, if nothing else, needs to make sense.
Don't worry about it.
It's such a crucial turning point.
It really isn't going forward from
And
here.
none of the surrounding characters have motivations that make sense. Like, even Melisandre. Like, what are Melisandre's thoughts and feelings about Jon Snow right now? Why, like... I guess Melisandre is like sort of hoping, maybe daring to hope that maybe Jon is Azor Ahai, but like maybe if she talked about that or says
There is like one scene where she's a bit like that, and I think it got cut
really?
from my supercut.
Right, yeah.
I think I cut it.
Well, I mean, she certainly talks about that later, but like it seems pretty important that that be emphasized a lot.
And in episodes 1 and 2 here of season 6, she seems really dejected that Stannis is dead, and like she doesn't even consider bringing Jon back until Davos comes to her.
Yeah, like Davos's faith inspires Melisandre, even though Davos has no
It just
faith.
seems backwards.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do with what Davos and Melisandre represent in the previous parts of their arc. Like, Davos is about, like, human morality and, like, a grounded human perspective to Stannis, whereas Melisandre is like, you must make dark sacrifices for the greater good. And neither of those things connect with what's happening
Yeah.
with Jon right now. There's
Not
no
anymore.
sacrifice going on. There's no moral choice going on. Like, Davos and Melisandre are always about moral opposites.
It doesn't even play into Jon's story.
No. This scene has nothing to do with anybody involved.
Again, it's just the plot being delivered.
Yes. It's
That's
just
all
we
it
had to
is.
get from point A to point B, so let's just shove these actors into a room and
And then hopefully we can get to a big battle by the end of the
figure
season.
out, yeah.
That's what season 6 is. Shove the characters together, do some shit, get the plot elsewhere.
Melisandre does, like, Carice does a wonderful job of showing Melisandre's torment here, though. Like, she has lost her faith because she
Yeah.
thought Stannis was everything. She feels guilt, she feels shame, and now she feels like she
No.
has no power. Like, you know, Melisandre is going through some stuff right now, which I do enjoy. But broadly, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. What is Davos thinking? What is happening in his head
Maybe
right
if
now?
I tilt my head, he looks like he's alive.
If he's going to all this effort for Jon, why is he not searching for Stannis?
Why does he care?
Yeah. And where are they walking to? Like, go sleep next to the wildlings? Who's in charge? Is Tormund the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch?
I think Ed took charge when Alistair was defeated.
Has Jon really had time to shave all of his body hair off in the last few weeks?
Huh.
Who's waxing Jon?
Maybe Melisandre did it before the sponge bath began.
Maybe.
Oh, so he's alive. Okay.
Oh.
So that was the main character's resurrection.
Oh.
Oh well.
Oh.
Yeah.
I have no feelings. Did R'hllor do it?
I don't know. Why are you asking me?
There's like so many interesting questions where it's like, you know, is it possible that the White Walkers are involved? Like, I think I
Well,
remember
see,
when
the thing is, when Beric Dondarrion talks to Jon Snow later on, the conclusion he comes to, it doesn't really matter.
maybe we don't need to understand.
Stop thinking about it so much, bro.
Like, why?
Titties and dragons.
Why did it work? Well, I mean, is the Lord of Light's plan that Jon will shout at zombie Viserion so that Arya can stab the Night King?
as written.
Is that God's plan?
Yeah. God has a plan for all of us, man. And for some of us, it's shouting at a dragon.
And Beric was resurrected 7 times so that he could slow down the zombies for Arya?
Yeah.
It was all destiny all along?
Yeah. Except no, because you have to make your own fate.
Best season ever!
Oh yeah. Yeah, get over it. We've all woken up in a sweat before. Good old man breathing heavily. Love subtitles.
Davos appears to have some very strong feelings that he's not turning into words.
That is a strong eyebrow movement too.
That's actually one of the funniest things about the last few seasons of Game of Thrones is that the amount of dialogue goes down markedly. It'd be interesting to actually crunch the numbers, but I think that the number of like words per minute
blur his butt crack there.
goes down a lot. No, I think you should enhance it.
Okay.
Got to zoom in.
Enhance. Rotate. John notices he has multiple holes in his vital organs and then begins to panic.
It's good for ventilation.
Easy access too. If you need to fuck around with your intestines.
It's like a spare wallet, you know, keep loose change in
Yeah.
there. So do you think his wounds like closed magically? Or does he not have blood anymore? Does Jon still have blood?
I think he still has blood. Why did she come back in?
Yeah, I thought she was going to bed.
Yeah.
Oh, so we saw the scene where Melisandre's all old and wrinkly, didn't we?
Well, yeah, that happened at the end of episode 1.
Well spotted, Jon.
Ollie. Put a knife in my heart.
I
Good-
like that. He
good
can't
recap.
believe. He cannot believe that Ollie did this.
Yeah, that tracks.
I shouldn't be here.
The lady
I like his vulnerability here.
Yeah.
Afterwards. After they stabbed you, after you died, where did you go?
Game of Thrones confirms there is no afterlife.
Nothing.
Nothing.
There was nothing at all.
What's your character arc leading up to? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
The Lord let you come back for a reason. Stannis was not the prince who was promised, but Someone has to be.
Wait, there's a prophecy in this series? Is this a fantasy story?
I thought this was porn.
It is an interesting contrast to Beric, where like Beric is, you know, he comes back as a religious leader filled with, you know, faith and confidence, whereas John is
Nothing.
empty.
You were dead. And now you're not.
Yeah, there's a great pep talk, isn't it? Nothing matters.
Completely fucking mad, seems to me. I can only imagine how it seems to you.
I did what I thought was right. And I got murdered for it. Now I'm back. Why?
I don't know. Maybe we'll never know. What does it matter?
Maybe we're not supposed to know.
You go on. You fight for as long as you can.
The show tells us to our face several times, don't think about it.
I don't know.
Stop asking questions.
Yeah.
Stop thinking.
Worry about war.
Yeah, the only thing that matters is sword fights.
I failed.
Good. Now go fail again.
Doesn't Davos feel like he's leading John to the same grisly fate that awaited Stannis and Shireen?
Yeah, but this time it'll work.
Yeah, what's he doing encouraging more people to try where Stannis failed?
Shouldn't he be doubting everything he ever stood for right now?
Yeah. Where's all this hope coming from? Kind of funny that the Watch and the Wildlings are standing among each other pretty happily.
You-
You'd
you
think
don't-
they'd be still a bit separate.
Well, you might think that John, as a like prophesied messiah who returned from the dead, might be binding people who would otherwise hate each other together, but that's not really ever addressed
Yeah. Well, Tormund says it one time.
in a moment.
Yeah.
But that's never picked up on again.
Man, these extras have great hair.
They think you're some kind of god. The man who returned from the
Oh,
dead.
hang on. Sounds a bit like a fantasy show. We better start talking about penises.
I saw your pecker.
Oh, thank God.
Kind of god
Oh.
would have a pecker that's more.
What a relief. Dick joke. We can relax now.
Is that it? Has Tormund's switch been flipped now?
Yeah, I think he's become the dick joke guy.
Yeah, there's basically nothing complex going on anymore because Mance is dead and John's back to life, and I guess we're just John's mate now.
Yeah, the wildlings are kind of no longer interesting after Mance dies.
Yeah.
Your eyes are still brown. That's still you in there.
I think so.
So many interesting ideas that they
Hold off on burning my body.
tell us could be happening, but never
Yeah.
do.
Funny. You sure that's still you in there?
Ah,
Even like all the conversations feel slower paced, you know?
yeah.
Like they used to be like sort of political. The conversations
and
had a
forth.
real like pace
Rhythm
to
to
them.
them.
Yeah, they had like a real beat to them, a real pulse to them. But now everyone's just sad and slow, and that's what John is in Late God. He's just sad and slow and plodding, you know. Just staggering onwards.
Gotta keep fighting.
Gotta kill the bad
Gotta
guys.
kill the child. I've gotta go execute a small boy.
Must kill boy. Isn't that
Kill the
in,
boy.
in The Simpsons?
Must kill boy.
Must kill boy. Isn't that in the Shining parody?
So more than 4
Halloween
people
Horror.
stabbed John.
The time.
Yeah, that's true. There's like 3 guys who just got off scot free.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
but the 12-year-old got to get him.
Yeah, that's true. 3 people got away with it, and the child is not one of them.
You're right. Tell her I died fighting the wild.
Yeah, get stuffed. The end of Alistair Thorne. You were a good character for a moment there.
Had a choice.
For a long while, I think.
Commander.
Very
Betray
good.
you or betray the Night's Watch.
You brought an army of wildlings
Again,
into our land.
Alyssa has a better Jon Snow arc than Jon Snow does. His human heart is in conflict with
Yeah,
itself.
because he had to weigh that decision against. It was his heart against his duty.
Yeah. Ollie also
Sir Alistair,
was conflicted.
I lost.
Now I die.
Now I rest.
Fuck.
Imagine if he had that dignity in the previous episode when he
Yeah.
was captured.
You'll be fighting
Like
for
what
blood.
happened since then? I mean, I guess there's a noose around his neck, but to make him this accepting of his fate.
Yeah. A knight in a nice cell might do it. I do like that line, though. You'll be fighting their battles forever. I
Yeah.
mean, it's sort of like what Carl and Corin sort of told John about, like, you
Yeah.
know,
You'll never be free.
yeah, you are trapped in your duty. If you want to be a hero, this means you'll never get what you want. You'll never get rest. But I mean, he sort of does get escape in the end, in the final episode. So
Yeah. Well, maybe that's just him defying what he's been told his whole life.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're trying to make the snow show, so John really does never get rest.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Let the character rest, people.
Yeah.
I like how Ollie doesn't say anything. Just glares at him.
Kit Harington has enough houses. I'm sure they would have written some lines for Ollie and maybe cut them or something.
Maybe. Dark John? Dark John? Question mark.
John likes killing children?
John Bad? Red circle thumbnail?
Yeah. I mean, for a moment, this actually does seem like maybe John has changed a bit. For killing Ollie specifically.
Yeah. Like the camera lingers on a dead child for a bit there.
Yeah, like we are meant to be. I mean, I think Kit Harington said something about like we should be afraid of John in season 6 because
I'd
he
love
has
to be.
become something
I'd
darker.
love to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I nothing would thrill me more than for Jon Snow to actually become a more dynamic, emotionally driven, unpredictable character.
I think it'd be great given how passive he was in earlier seasons. Great contrast.
Yeah.
You should.
Is that the cloak of the Lord Commander? Pretty sure John's been wearing that
No
for
such
many
thing.
seasons.
It's just his cloak.
Wear it.
You're gonna be cold, John.
Whatever you want.
No, he's got fire inside him.
Of Castle Black.
As the last named character alive at the Night's Watch. Those are the laws. Last man with the name.
Didn't someone mention Hob once?
Yeah.
That's the food. That's the cupboard he walks into when he leaves.
Yeah, that's where the food is stored. I want to be
That's
a wizard.
It's the same place as that scene in episode 7.
Yeah. You're being groomed for command. His watch has ended, Gladys. His watch has ended. I think our watch should be ended.
Our watch still has 2.5 seasons to go.
Yeah. I guess this makes sense that he kills the people who killed him. I would like to know a bit more about what the Night's Watch is now.
Yeah. Well, he's just decided that Ed's in charge now.
How does he feel about the
which
White
is-
Walkers?
Which is a bit antithetical to the Watcher's democratic governance, but okay.
Now that John is a zombie, maybe he should have feelings about the zombies that are coming.
Yeah. Maybe he's like, you know what? They're fine.
Maybe now that John is freed from his oath, he should like want to find Bran. Maybe he should follow up on that.
Yeah. Or Benjen.
Or Benjen, yeah.
But no, he just seems to sit around for a little bit. Actually, it really is a little bit. It's like half a scene before he's given an impetus to, you know, come on, we gotta go take Winterfell.
Well, he says my watch is ended and he's walking into the cupboard, but he's still at Castle Black next scene, isn't
yeah,
he?
yeah.
So it sort of makes it look like he's just walking out of Castle Black, but he's actually just going to the pantry for a snack.
Yeah. Couple of turnips.
Hobbs' 3-finger pie.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah,
That was Earthbreaker.
yeah.
No, it was Earthbreaker.
Book of the Stranger. So what is he now?
What do you mean? He's Jon Snow, baby.
What does he want? What does he? Yeah, well, he talks about that.
Well,
in the
I
next-
think it's okay to have a section like this where something traumatic's happened to your main character, where he needs to like really rethink
Yeah.
everything. But that's not really what happens.
Yeah. I don't dislike this scene. Yeah, I agree. It makes sense that he's like, I'm done. This is someone else's problem. I've just got to go, like, have a midlife crisis, end of life crisis. I've
Yeah.
got to just rethink everything. Yeah, I agree with you.
And then, we should see the competing forces for his attention. Melisandre thinks that he needs to be the hero in the War for the Dawn. Sansa thinks that he needs to conquer Winterfell for her, basically.
Some wildlings might see him as a potential
King of-
leader,
yeah,
or at
theirs.
least a useful force. I mean, or even a good hostage. I
And
mean,
a lot of the Watchmen will be telling him that he's still Lord Commander.
a lot of wildlings would want Jon dead because he killed Mance
Yep.
and he defeated the wildlings in battle, and so like the wildlings would not all see him positively.
There are so many competing forces for Jon's future here.
That they could engage with, but don't.
Yeah. Duke of the Stranger. So yeah, Jon's still just hanging out at Castle Black, I guess.
Yep, he got his snack from the pantry.
Now he's up in the office.
What do you think eating food is like after you've died and come back to life?
Probably just as bland.
Where are you gonna go?
So Jon's in his tying his hair back era now.
Yeah.
Gonna do?
Get warm.
He's retiring. Tortuga.
He's in his Stark uniform now.
Going to
I was with
Tahiti.
you at Hardhome. We saw what's out there. We know it's coming here. How can you leave us now?
Yeah, I like that.
Did everything.
That
Yeah.
Ed is
You swore a
telling him what he
vow.
needs to do.
I pledged my life to the Night's Watch. I gave my life.
For all nights to come.
They killed me, Ed, my own brothers. You want me to stay here after that?
Oh, it's a different horn.mp3.
Yeah, it is like 2 minutes between.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, crazy.
And then Stannis shows up with the plot. Sansa shows up with the plot.
Yeah. Hey, Kit, we found the scripts for the next episode.
There's a big woman.
Yeah, this is when Tormund becomes a comic relief character. I love Brienne's expression here. Like, what the fuck is this place? Brienne after just killing King Stannis.
Oh, she did a little bit between then and now. She saved Sansa somehow.
So Sansa's just escaped from the Boltons. Lady Bolton. Lady Sansa Bolton.
Sandra Lannister.
Salsa Lancaster. So Jon hasn't seen Sansa since episode 1.
They could have seen each other in episode 2, but it's not shown. But yeah, it's been 6 seasons.
Oh look, it's my least favorite sibling. Oh god, we're gonna see the Sansa Winterfell plot, aren't we?
Not really.
Well, yeah, not in the Jon supercut so much. But you know, this is Jon's family. This is Winterfell. This is the Starks. This is
Yeah, he's reunited with his least favorite sibling.
what he's. It's part of what he's been wanting, at least in the books. Doesn't talk so much about the Starks in the show. This is good soup. What a powerful first line. Powerful writing.
With the peas and onions. We never
No,
should
I
have left
don't.
Winterfell.
Do you think Old Nan was in the
Don't you wish we
kitchens?
could go back to the day we left?
Apparently.
I want to scream at myself. Don't go, you idiot.
This is also the season where they stop writing as though they're in a
I spent
medieval
a lot of
fantasy and they
time
start writing as though they're in like a modern drama.
Yeah, they're in high school.
I wish I could change everything.
We were children.
I was awful, just admit it.
Admit it.
You were occasionally awful. I'm sure I can't have been great fun always sulking in the corner while the rest of you played.
That's
You
kind
forgive
of
me?
Grumpy
Nothing to
face.
forgive.
Forgive me.
All right. All right, I forgive you.
I died, by the way. I'm a zombie.
It does feel kind of wild seeing these plot lines collide after all this time.
Yeah. Jarring.
They feel like characters from different shows.
You
think after thousands of years, the Night's Watch would have learned how to make a good ale.
Yeah, I swear that's one of the only things the Night's Watch would do is like
Yeah.
brew
Where would we
really
go?
good beers.
Where will we go?
Like, where's their monastic tradition
I
as
don't
well?
watch over
Yeah,
your
exactly.
father's ghost will come back and murder me.
Yeah, watch over you where?
Where will we go?
Right, so John feels
Stay here, not after what happened.
an imperative
There's
to
only one
protect
place we can
Sansa,
go.
like for Ned's legacy, right?
Home.
Yeah.
How is this any different?
Or should we tell the Boltons? to
Like
pack
if
up and
Sansa
leave?
had come
take it back.
while John was still alive, first of all, he'd have to make a massive choice.
And of course, so the show removed that choice
Yeah, of
because
course.
God forbid John have to make a choice that has emotional consequences.
And like second of all, it would have been exactly the same as this, really. They've just removed the constraint of him having to make a choice between the watch and what he actually wants.
Just like how they made the pink letter arrive after John
Yeah,
had already
that's
been freed from his vows.
later in this episode.
They went out of their
We're about
way
to
to,
see it, actually.
remove any kind of emotional decision making from John's story, removing any kind of
Yeah.
moral dilemmas. The heart of
Well,
the
no,
books.
no. He says he's tired of fighting. You see,
That is so funny to me. Like literally the biggest like emotional internal conflict John goes through in this season is being tired.
I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I don't have an army.
How many wildlings did you save?
They didn't come here to serve me.
They owe you their lives.
I kind of like how Sansa like coldly says, "Yeah, let's just use those
Yeah.
barbarians as a meat
She's
grinder."
picked up on the political apathy of King's Landing.
And of Littlefinger.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the threads that I have like complicated feelings about Sansa's arc in the last few seasons because I think what they're doing is making Sansa Littlefinger's heir
Yeah.
and picking up on his unscrupulous political methods in order to divide John from Daenerys and ultimately become the independent queen in the north. Like I think that is this nasty game that she's playing, but the show didn't quite have the balls to
Yeah, they
say
didn't
it
commit.
in as many words. Like it was just sort of this subtextual thing that they never really committed to, which I feel like it'd be a bit more interesting if they leaned into it a bit more
Yeah.
hard. Because they were too cowardly to really make Sansa outwardly a bit amoral.
Yeah.
I think they'll be safe
Oh,
here
like
if we-
ambitious to a fault is really what she could have been.
A product of the Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Like look what you turned this innocent little girl into.
Whereas since they sort of eased off making it explicit, they just sort of made Daenerys the bad guy because they made like, oh, well, it turns out Sansa was right about Daenerys.
Yeah.
When Sansa was constantly distrusting of Daenerys, she was right because Daenerys did go crazy and kill
Yeah.
everyone. So it kind of makes, I mean, I guess you can argue that, it was partly because of Sansa's manipulations that Daenerys went bad. But yeah,
All she did was tell the truth.
yeah. If that's all it takes to drive you mad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it also means Arya was right about Daenerys. And Arya, that's a whole other tin of beans, of cans of worms, of kettles of fish.
Arya knows a killer when she sees one.
Yeah. Oh, is that right?
remains warden of the north.
How'd you figure that, Arya?
Pretty perceptive. Not much
Yeah.
gets past her.
And Rickons, wherever they are, it belongs to our family. We have to fight for it.
I'm tired of fighting.
Oh, he said it.
It is kind of funny and ironic that after all this time, like John's family is coming knocking, and he shows no interest, which is kind of a good and interesting irony that like all this time John wanted to reunite with his family, wanted to fight for his family, and now that his family is here, saying fight for us, he's now refusing the call
can't.
to adventure.
Yeah.
It's kind of not terrible.
It's a little interesting.
Yeah.
It's all I've done since
Of course, it lasts for all of like
Yeah,
15
this
minutes.
scene.
Brothers of the Night's
Yeah.
Watch.
Until
I've
he
killed
gets the pink
wildlings.
letter.
I've killed
Yeah.
men that I admire. I hanged a boy, younger than Bran.
See this? Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, me too.
I like that he's dealing with the weight of all that.
Totally. Yeah, that's the problem. Like one of the problems with Show John is that he, as Tormund says, he keeps fighting.
He
and
keeps fighting.
He keeps fighting. And like there's nothing interesting about that. But seeing the cost of that here is great.
Yeah. If only it lasted for more than 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, we continue to see his sadness throughout season 6. We continue to see like his trauma, but season 6 is like about defeating trauma through the power of punching Ramsay in the face 27 times, and then he's fine.
That's also how Sansa overcomes her Ramsay-related trauma.
Yeah, and it's like I don't think the moral of A Song of Ice and Fire is that the way to overcome the trauma of violence is with
By
more
punching
violence.
people in the face.
Violence does not solve violence. That is the thesis of this series. Like this series is about violence begat by violence. You know.
What gave you that impression? No,
You don't
Lady
have to keep
Stoneheart's
them
going to do a
from never
Red
be
Wedding
safe.
2.0, and it's going to be good. That's a good thing, actually.
Yeah.
All the Freys
Stoneheart-
dying. Arya killing all the Freys is good, actually.
Yeah, I love it when people kill people. It's
And then
great.
she rips her face off, and it's really cool, and she shrinks by 2 feet.
The main thing is that if you become a ninja, you can solve all of your problems.
ninja, Arya.
Ninja, yeah. It is kind of interesting that like Sansa's response to her trauma is to become cold and calculating and
Yeah.
ambitious, whereas Jon's response is to become tired. There are so many funny little leather straps on these costumes that.
You gotta have straps.
Welcome Brienne to Castle Black. That
Yeah,
never
welcome
happens in the
Brienne
books.
to the John supercut, actually.
Yeah.
The fuck is this guy?
Yeah, that is fun. I enjoyed that.
It's fun to begin with, but then it becomes his entire character.
Yeah, true. They drag it out way too much.
I do like this awkward lunch.
Yeah, me too.
That's all right. There are more important things.
Speaking of, the plot comes knocking on the door.
A letter for you, Lord Commander.
It's funny how often the characters are just sitting around waiting for the plot to arrive. Ah, here's the script for the next episode, Kit Harington. We included those extra spin moves you requested.
We made one fewer short joke at your expense.
Ignore the
Straight
spelling
out,
mistakes. DB had a hangover that day.
Allowed thousands of wildlings past the wall. You have betrayed your own kind. You have betrayed the North. Winterfell is mine, bastard. Come and see.
This is so weird.
Brother Rickon is in my dungeon.
It's so weird.
Come and See is so powerful in the books.
Yeah.
Because, like, John had invested all his hopes in Mance going south to save Arya.
On my floor, come and see.
Because the one thing he had going.
Back. Send her to me, bastard, and I will not trouble you or your wildling lovers. Keep her from me, and I will ride north and slaughter every wildling man, woman, and babe living under
It's
your
so much more,
protection.
like, blunt and...
Yeah.
Watch as I skin them living.
Go on.
Where's the I will cut out your bastard's heart and eat it?
It's just more. It goes on like this for
You
some
watch as
time.
my soldiers take turns raping your sister.
Oh,
You will watch as my dogs devour your wild little brother.
is that where she got the idea?
Then I will spoon
Oh
your
God,
bastard
yeah,
baskets
you're right.
and let my dogs do the rest. Come and see. Ramsay Bolton, Lord of Winterfell, Warden of the North.
Yeah, there's a bit to unpack here.
I just want to point out, first of all, that Ramsay's plan in the show is, first of all, he's killed his father.
As you do.
Yeah. And his stepmother and his newborn half brother. So he's alienated his only allies in the phrase. And so his plan is to draw Jon out because he fears that Jon, at the head of a wildling army, would be able to conquer Winterfell. And he has the support of... No, they discuss getting the support of the Karstarks, the Manderleys, and the Umbers, which are the three northern houses that you would least likely have the support of in a war against a Lord Commander Stark. Because the Umbers are closely tied to the Night's Watch, the Karstarks are kin to the Starks, and the Manderleys owe everything to the Starks.
Well, but the Umbers would not be fans of a wildling army.
No, but they would
invading the
not
North.
fight against the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
He's not the Lord Commander of the
He
Night's
was
Watch.
when Ramsay made that plan,
Yeah, I
to
mean,
his knowledge.
is it more about Ramsay just wanting to get Sansa back because Sansa is his claim to legitimacy as Warden of the North?
Yeah, probably. It's like the one reason he has to send this letter.
And also, like, because Ramsay is just a psycho and he enjoys tormenting people, like, he wants Sansa as a plaything in the same way that he wanted Theon.
How does he know that Sansa's gone to the wall?
Yeah, it's a good
if
question.
you're Sansa, wouldn't you Like she could have gone to River Run.
Personally, I'd go to
Or the
Norvos,
Vale.
but you know,
Norvos. What's there for Sansa?
it's really far away from Ramsay.
Yeah.
And there's bearded priests and
Yeah.
bears.
They've got cool axes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not crazy to think that maybe like Ramsay would guess that Sansa would go to seek the
No,
protection
it's like
of
one
her
of the
brother.
2 places she could have gone.
And also Ramsay might have like spies or informants,
Yeah.
not unlike Locke, who might let him know of what's going on.
Oh, this is why they should have kept Locke alive.
Well, we do see his corpse.
We never see him die, and then cut to him with a bit of his neck sticking out.
But obviously, like the thing that's cool about this letter in the books is that this letter accuses Jon of a bunch of things that he genuinely did do wrong, like
Yeah.
sending Mance to take Arya and lying about Mance's death and like helping Stannis, and all of Jon's meddling comes back to roost and bites him in the ass. Whereas what's happening here with this letter
It's nothing to do
no
with Jon.
fault of Jon.
Well, he did let the wildlings through the wall, which he thought was the right thing, and Ramsay thinks is a bad thing, and that's it.
Well, it's unambiguously the right thing to do, and it also
Yeah.
is what gives Jon the power to win. You know, like it's not like it's a cost; it's the solution. It's the
Yeah.
cause of the problem, but the wildling army is also the solution.
Like
So it's
alcohol.
exactly. So it's amazing how they managed to take the pink letter from the books, which has so much power in terms of tearing Jon's heart in two between his duty to the Watch and his love for the Starks. Whereas here, it's like he's already forgone his duty to
Yeah.
the Watch, so it has no meaning.
There's no weight anymore.
It's just, here's your next boss battle, Jon. Hope you're not too tired to fight it.
And this is what actually instigates him to not be too tired to fight anymore. He had just rejected Sansa's offer of conquering Winterfell with her, and this letter is what makes him want to do that.
Yeah. Oh, I guess Ramsay is bad. I guess
We should probably do
I guess
something about
I'll
that.
do it. This was a invigorating lunch, so I guess I now have the energy to do it.
Oh well,
Oh well.
off we go. Yeah, the pink letter is like the emotional and thematic core of Jon's narrative in book 5, and this is just
Father's
the
dead.
plot showing up at the door. Knock knock, you got to go conquer Winterfell.
Yeah.
And now he has Rickon.
And I mean, Rickon's an interesting addition.
How many men does he have in his army?
I heard him say 5,000 once when he was talking about Stannis' attack.
How many do you have?
That can march and fight? 2,000.
They always make the odds ludicrously unequal in shows, don't they?
Well, if Jon's not the underdog here, then it's not as cool when
You are the son of the last
Littlefinger
true
wins the
North.
battle.
Northern families are loyal. They'll fight
You know,
for
if Jon
you
had the
last.
upper hand, then it wouldn't matter.
A monster has
But, like,
taken our home.
A
and
northern
our
soldier,
brother.
like a Bolton soldier, has got to be worth
We
at
have to
least
go back to
double a
Winterfell
wildling.
and
Yeah.
That's
save
never
both.
like fought in a proper
Yeah,
organized army.
never been
before.
drilled.
Never fought against like cavalry.
Doesn't have proper armor at all.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I'm not that tired. I'm tired, but I'm not that tired.
Oh boy.
Can't defend the north from the walkers and the south from the
Next
Bolton.
episode.
If we
So
want to
for some
survive,
reason
we need
Brienne's
Winterfell, and to
here.
take Winterfell,
Oh no,
we
I
need
guess that
more
makes
men.
sense. I don't know why Ed's there.
Brienne is probably the best fighter in this room.
Yeah.
Well, in
Aside from
book
the
canon, not
Starks
show
and
canon.
The Boltons, the most powerful houses in the north. are the
Davos is
Underdogs,
probably
Karstarks,
the most like
the
he's
Mamluks,
seen the most
And
organized
House Mason.
and the Karstarks.
Yeah, Davos is experienced, I suppose.
So not
I don't know why Ed's
there.
there. He's
Yeah,
not really a
let's
part
get
of this.
Rickon's
He's just like
line.
another character we can put in the room.
He's a
The
named
Karstarks
character.
prepared for Ramsay without knowing they had another choice.
Oh, I beg your pardon, my lady, but they know that a Stark beheaded their father. I don't think we can.
I do like they're actually talking about continuity and consequences of
How well
choices
do you
with
know the
Rob's
North, Sir Davos?
yeah.
beheading of Rickard Karstark. That is
My
good.
father
Yeah,
always
like
to
when
mention.
we're just not gonna get their
More
support.
loyal,
Hmm.
suspicious of outsiders.
They may well be loyal, but how many rose up against the Boltons when they betrayed your family?
Remember when that woman said the North remembers to Sansa? That really
Yeah.
went somewhere, didn't it?
Yeah, the
More
North
or less the same
remembers,
in any
except for
corner of the
all
world,
the
even
people who matter.
bravest of them don't want to see their wives
And
children
the montage of them going to all the northern houses in episode
Oh,
7,
God.
or is it episode 6,
Believe it's a fight they
Yeah.
can win.
is really depressing.
It's weird.
Glover, Mormont,
And it's important
That's the
because
Masons again.
because it's vindication of everything Ned stood for, that the Northmen are loyal to the Starks. So in the show, when when they aren't loyal to the Starks, when they mostly reject Jon and Sansa, it's like, oh, I guess Ned Stark was an idiot. You know, I guess honor is worthless.
Yeah, it's depressing.
It's a deeply nihilistic, cynical show compared to the books.
Yeah.
Jon is every bit as much Ned Stark's son as Ramsay is Roose Bolton's. And there are also the Tullys. They're not northern, but
Does that play into the theory that Roose Bolton is not not Ramsay's father?
My uncle, the Blackfish.
Who is Ramsay's father then?
River Run.
Theon?
No one.
Definitely Theon.
Theon is the miller's boy.
Ramsay
Yeah,
received
that's right.
a raven before I escaped Winterfell.
Yeah, they're making a point of like Sansa is noticing and learning things and playing politics.
Yeah.
But God, then she withholds the Vale Knights.
Yes, very clever of her.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I've sworn to protect you, my lady.
You heard them. We
Oh,
need more men.
guess I should have
and
cut
my
this.
uncle has an army. We can send the Blackfish
Actually, we
raven.
might be able to just go to the next episode from here.
It has to be you.
Is it?
I'm
that
pretty
long
sure
of a
this is
scene?
yeah, I think it is. Just scrub through.
Yeah, this is this very weird thing where Sansa's trying to get rid of Brienne, even though Brienne is obviously one of the best assets Sansa
we have to watch
has.
from there.
So it's like, why does she send Brienne away to the Blackfish?
Yeah.
It's very weird. Sansa's just quite like mean to people for no reason.
Well, she's a very cold person by now, from what she's gone through, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, she's
I like
traumatized.
the wolf bit.
I made this for you.
Yeah, I like how they show that Sansa's
I
like
like that.
embroidery skills and her clothing skills.
Yeah, from episode 1.
Because clothing matters, you know, in this world.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think that is nice.
She was always good at embroidering too.
Because it's like personal, but it's also political.
I can't get too mad at it because of that face.
Yeah, the faces are gorgeous. The faces are gorgeous. Like it's political to wear the trappings, the Ned Stark costume,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that matters.
Lock it down while I'm gone.
Very important.
I'll do my best.
Ed just is the Lord Commander now.
I suppose he's the acting commander, like Alyssa was the
Yeah,
acting
I guess.
commander. Close the bloody gate.
Who do you think would be the 999th and maybe even 1000th Lord Commander?
In the books?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. Be cool if a wildling was the
Yeah.
1000th.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe-
Saturn the 999th.
That'd be cool. A lot of people think like big characters like Stannis or Jaime.
Yeah. I don't hate it, but it's like, I mean, you only need the Night's Watch if there are still White Walkers out there, surely.
Yeah, maybe the dissolution of it. Maybe the dissolution of the Night's Watch could go in tandem with the dissolution of the Iron Throne.
Yeah, like, yeah, bringing down the wall, like bringing down the Berlin Wall or something, you know?
We've talked about this before, but I have this pet theory that Tyrion might be the Lord Commander by the end of the series.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like that.
Wouldn't be bad.
Do you think he'll sort out those books in the Castle
Yeah,
Black
he could
Library?
do. That'd be a nice, part of the final scene.
Mm.
But it just, that one scene in the Game of Thrones where Jon declares he's going to go out and find Benjen beyond the wall, and Tyrion says, "And who will look for you?" I think that'd be so lovely to play into at the end.
Yeah, do you think in the Snow show, do you think Peter Dinklage is going to look for Kit Harington beyond the wall?
No, he's Hand of the King for some reason.
Tyrion would make a very poor ranger.
Mm.
What about Sam? Will Sam be in the Night's Watch in the end?
No, for some reason he's the Grand Maester.
Like that's the thing. Like Sam was very blasé about leaving the Night's Watch forever in the show.
Yeah, he just sort of got to do that.
Like if Sam can leave, everyone would want to leave.
Yeah.
Like why is there a Night's Watch? I think that like it makes sense to have a Night's
That's
Watch.
right, there is a Night's Watch still at the end of the show.
Yeah. Like it only makes sense if they say, okay, well, the White Walkers might still come back someday. There are still White Walkers out there, so we'd better prepare. We'd better remember, hey, Sam, hey, Tyrion, you better write down these books so that in 8,000 years we're ready for the next long night. Like, that would make sense. But when it's like, oh, I guess there's a Night's Watch, but you don't have to be there unless you really want to. So, just make your own call.
Well, it could be useful to still have an institution that exists to house the unwanted criminals, but it needs to have a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I could see it going either way in the books. I could see there being a
right.
watch or not.
The reason I say there's technically John in episode 6 is that he appears in one of Bran's visions
Oh,
at the start of that episode, but that's it.
what vision?
You know how it's after the door, so Bran is, Mira is escaping from the cave. and
Yeah,
she's
he's
got
watching
Bran's out.
season recaps on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
He's watching lore videos.
Yeah, maybe he sees a glimpse of the baby. I can't remember. No, I don't think he does.
Yeah,
I think
don't
that
think so.
only comes up in episode 10.
Yeah.
He sees something
Yeah.
to do with John.
No, I don't remember.
Oh,
that.
it's John killing the White Walker at Hardhome. That's what he sees.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That's kind of nice.
it doesn't mean anything.
But it's kind of neat.
Kinda neat.
That's the best that the show can aspire to at this point. Is it's kind of
Dim
neat.
Dalber's back.
Yeah.
But this isn't what we agreed to. These aren't White Walkers. This isn't an army of the dead. This isn't our fight.
You're so right, Dim Delber, and I can't believe your mind gets changed in this scene.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that your mind gets
What he
changed.
said makes total sense.
Yeah.
Bones just like Mance.
Yeah, they changed their mind out of personal loyalty to John, which is
Yeah.
like really like John killed lots of wildlings in the battle for the wall
He
in
killed
season 4.
Mance.
Have you guys forgiven that so quickly? You're like, oh, we really owe Jon Snow, this guy who killed our king and lots of our people. Like,
I
really?
mean,
Get
they
out
might
of here.
think that they're only alive because of him.
Yeah, I mean, some of them might. I think they should emphasize that a lot of wildlings reject John, and maybe only some wildlings accept John.
Yeah, there are still those north of the wall.
One
who
of, one
didn't
of the
trust him.
things that's great in the books is that a bunch of the wildlings personally swear loyalty to John
Yeah.
when they are coming through the wall, and like feel like some of those oaths will pay off. But
Yeah,
they didn't do
yeah.
that in the show, so they didn't emphasize the idea that some wildlings like feel that responsibility and that
no,
loyalty until now.
Wildlings are free folk, and them swearing loyalty to someone means a lot.
Yeah.
Look what's left of us. And if we lose this,
Oh, is this all of them?
we're gone.
Every
Dozens
wildling.
of tribes. Hundreds of generations. Be like we were never there at all.
Yeah, they're looking down the barrel of
Free folk.
Extinction.
extinction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what'll happen to you if we lose.
Really though, is it?
Boltons, the Carstarks,
Is it?
The Umbers.
Well, I like
know
that he's
you're here.
appealing to the idea
They
that
know
there's
the
no way
more
the
than half of
Boltons are
your
going to
women
help
and
them
children. After they finish with
when
me,
the
they'll
dead
for
come.
you.
They've got other priorities.
You're right. This isn't your fight. You shouldn't have to come to Winterfell with me. I shouldn't be asking you. It's not the deal we made.
Okay, bye.
I need you with me if we're gonna beat them, and we need to beat them if you're gonna survive.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
The crows killed him because he spoke for the free folk.
So this is the one
No other
time where
Southerners would.
Tormund invokes him as sort of a religious
died for
figure.
us.
Yeah, there it is.
If
Yeah.
we are not willing to do the same for him, we're cowards. If that's what we are, we deserve to be the last of the free folk.
Rah rah rah.
Har.
Har.
1-1 stands up and says snow and declares, and that's it.
I like his voice.
Yeah.
Is he the last of the giants
I
now?
believe
Where
he
are all
is.
the other giants?
I think he's supposed to be in the show. The Last Giant. There's no 100 giants wandering north of the wall.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that the wildlings are convinced. Because the other thing, like, the books emphasize how wildlings going into battle against the Boltons would be a meat grinder.
Yeah.
Like, they are
dead.
gonna die. Like, that's what Stannis says in the book. Like, we're gonna send the wildlings
They
in
are
first.
fodder.
They're all gonna die, and then we will step over their corpses to fight Ramsay. You know, like,
They are fodder.
like these guys are raiders. You know, it's not an army. These guys.
They attack unarmed villagers.
Yes, they have no experience attacking a castle. Siegecraft? You
haven't-
think wildlings know how to do sieges? Why Ygritte thought a windmill was a castle.
They don't know how to fight together. They
Yeah.
don't know formations or movements or drills. I
Left,
have-
right, left, right.
Always fucking love this shot of Bear Island.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, I like it a lot.
But yeah, that scene's a bit weird, isn't it? And yet, it's still my favorite of these 3 scenes.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just another shameless plot thing, isn't it? We need to get from point A to point B. John needs an army, so the wildlings have to do it. So that's what we're doing. You know, like it's just nakedly.
Yeah. We've got to assemble the Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a word for that when it's purely functional, like purely purposeful. There's a word for that. Utility. It's yeah. I forget.
You could just call it hollow. There's no depth to it.
You could call it shit.
You can call it shit. In fact, I made rather the career out of calling it shit.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
in my serious job as a dragon analyst.
Are all the Thens dead? Are there no more Thens?
Yeah, Thens are dead.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about them.
Yeah, that's a shame. Snarks and Grumpkins got them. Were there any women in that scene?
Maybe hanging out in the background.
Are all the women dead? I don't think the free folk have a bright future, guys. All right, let's go into the next scene.
Yep.
Welcome to Bear Island, home of Jorah and Jor and Alysanne.
And most importantly, Lyanna.
You think Tormund's ever been here? Husband to bears?
Oh, he could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Could be. They should have brought him here. Oh, I know you.
Hey, honey, we need your 64 men.
It's the first appearance of Lyanna Mormont.
What about bread and salt, huh?
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
Aunt Lyanna. You said she was a great beauty. I'm sure you will be too.
I doubt it. My mother wasn't a great beauty or any other kind of beauty.
She wasn't
was
even a
great
bad
warrior,
beauty.
though. She died fighting for your brother Rob.
Who's Lyanna's mother? Is it Alysanne or is it
Mage?
He was also a
isn't
great
it?
warrior
Yeah.
and an honourable man. I was his steward. In fact,
I think we've
Which
had enough
makes
small talk.
Jorah
Why
her
are you
uncle.
Yeah.
No, cousin, because Mage is
Stannis
Jill's
Baratheon
sister.
garrisoned at Castle
They are
Black before
cousins.
he marched on Winterfell and was killed.
What? Davos,
He showed
why
me the
you
lesson
here?
you wrote to
Why
him
you
in
here,
Invitation
Davos?
for Men,
He can
said.
talk
I
to
remember what
children.
it said.
Jesus.
Bear Island knows no king but the king in the north, whose name is Stark.
Rob is gone, but House Stark is not, and it needs your support now more than ever. I've come with my sister to ask for House Mormont's allegiance.
Are there any like Stark soldiers floating around
As
anywhere?
far as I
There must
understand,
be.
you're a snow in Lady
Nah,
Sansa's boat.
nah.
Where's your Lannister?
All gone.
I've heard conflicting reports.
All killed
I did what I had to do to survive, my lady.
in the Red
I
Wedding.
am a Stark. I will always be a Stark.
If you say so. In any case, you don't just want my allegiance, you want
We
my
did
fighting
just coast
men.
past
Ramsay
Sandra
Bolton cannot be
Lannister.
allowed to keep Winterfell, my lady.
Because a
It
bunch
is our
of like
duty to
Stark
stop him,
soldiers
even more
miraculously
so because
appear
he
in
holds our
season 8.
brother Rickon Stark as prisoner.
Where do they come from?
Huh.
What you
Well,
have to
those were the
understand, my
former
lady, is
Bolton
I
soldiers, you
understand
see.
that I'm responsible for Bear
I
Island
see.
and all who live
Well, what
here.
happened? So all the
Why should I
Boltons?
sacrifice one
What happened to
more
all
Oh, they
human
died in the
life to
in the
someone else's
battle.
war?
Yeah, supposedly
Please, my
the Blackfish rallied all the surviving Tully soldiers from the Red Wedding. So what happened to the surviving
Don't
Stark
know you.
soldiers?
Yeah, exactly.
Sir,
I mean, I think that's the idea. Like, there's a lot of like broken men floating around who could be rallied. You know, like,
Yep.
like with all the talk of the North remembers. I think what I'm saying is all those
Right, that was
dregs
the
could
choice.
re-emerge and say,
How is it you
"We
and
believe in
Sansa
you,
are here?"
John and Sansa. Like,
Yep.
we
Like a grassroots
recognize
movement.
Ned's legacy. Like the fact that all these houses tell John and Sansa to f off.
At such a young age. I never thought I'd be in my position.
It's a
crabber's son.
it spits in the
and I was
face
a
of
soldier.
Ned's legacy.
And
I
when
always
find
thought this
myself
was rather
addressing the lady
flimsy
of the
how
Grey
Davos
House in
relates to
time of war.
Lyanna by the virtue
here
of them
because
not thinking that
this
they would be
isn't
where they are.
someone else's
It's a
war.
pretty weak connection
our
between
war.
the two of them.
Yeah. How many
said Davos.
12-year-old kids would listen to some scraggly old bastard like
Yeah.
Davos?
But he's got such
Made that
kind
man
eyes.
his steward. He chose John to be his successor because he knew he had the courage to do what was right,
even if it meant giving his life.
Appealing to Jorah's decision to
Because
give
Jon
Jon command
Mormont
is
and Jon
the right thing
Snow
to do here, I
both
think.
understood that the real war isn't
Yeah.
between a few
Yeah, presumably
superpowered
Lyanna
houses.
knew Jill.
It's between the living and the dead.
Yeah, all right.
And make no mistake, my lady. The dead are coming.
Davos is just
It's true.
completely. I mean, he was the one who convinced Stannis to
Your
go
uncle
north
fought them
anyway.
at the
So
Feast of the First Men.
But Davos has never
I fought
seen a
them at
wife.
yeah, much less
Both
than
lost.
other.
As long as the Boltons hold Winterfell, the North is divided. And the divided North won't stand a chance against the Night King.
The Night King. That's the
Get
first
outta
time
here.
anyone in this
Protect
plot
your
has
people,
used
my
those
lady, I
words.
Yeah,
understand.
what? Where does
There's
that
no hiding
come
place.
from?
We have to
Maybe
fight.
Jon described
We
the
need
guy
to do it together.
to Davos, and he had like weird little thorns coming out of his head. It almost looked like a crown. Night King.
It's funny how they drop the apostrophe as well from Night's King to Night King. Like, is there any
Small
thought
minds escape
process
faces
behind that, or
Well,
they
it's
would?
so you don't conflate him with the lore character.
If
from
they
the
didn't want to
books.
conflate him, don't
Yeah,
name
call
him the same
Yeah,
name.
don't name him at all. Just have him be. Like, why say the Night King? Just say the White Walkers.
Yeah.
I like that Lyanna
My lady.
like rejects her mace's advice
fighting
there.
men can we
Like, no, I know what I think about this.
Yeah. No, she is cool. She's cool.
I've forgotten the actor's name.
62.
God, I should remember this.
Hmm.
Plays Ellie in The Last of Us.
62.
We are not a large house, but we're a proud one. And every man from Bear Island fights for the strength of 10 mainlanders.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
If they're half as ferocious as their lady, the Boltons are doomed.
I like that. Doesn't Alysanne Mormont in Book 5 talk about how there's like a image of like a woman of House Mormont holding a baby with one arm and holding an
Yeah.
axe with another arm, because the Mormonts are famously like under attack by the Ironborn all the time, and so they've learned to be like strong fighting women, and you know they've got their own distinct culture and pride, and a bit of that shines through here, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. I wish we saw more of House Mormont culture through Jorah.
Lord
Like, what's
Glover,
going on
Yeah,
there?
true.
hear us out.
Yeah, even if
Oh
there was
God.
Oh yeah, this is the worst.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've only just taken back this castle.
And it's so funny because like Robert Glover, like in the books is part of the Northern conspiracy
Yeah.
to restore the Starks to
Like,
Winterfell.
why make this about the Glovers? Is it just because the Ironborn, like they can talk about the Ironborn taking Deepwood Mont?
And Galbert Glover is part of the other half of the Grand
Yeah.
Northern conspiracy in the Neck. So it's like the Glovers are some of the most significant like Stark
Yeah,
loyalists.
they're the ones who are remembering. They're the North that's remembering.
Wouldn't it be so great if Jon and Sansa had people come to them, Northerners who were like, we have been out here like living in the hills because we knew the Starks would return and we
Yep.
never accepted the Boltons, and Ned Stark's legacy meant something to us. The
Yeah,
North
the Hill
remembers.
clans, man. Where
Yeah.
are they?
Where are the Hill clans? They didn't like. They were never going to do the full Grand Northern conspiracy intricacies in the show. Fine, but give us something because it's important for like the moral message of
Yeah.
the story.
What we're
which is-
seeing here is that no one cared.
yeah, I guess Ned Stark was an idiot. I guess he was wrong to try to stand for something.
The only people who do side with them here are like Lyanna Mormont, who is just sort of sweet talked into it by Davos.
yeah. Ugh.
The Boltons helped us do
Yeah,
it.
it
Now you won't
really
be fighting
misses the
against
moral
Like a
core
machine
of what's
trained
going on in the books.
I do
Boltons
like that
are
Lord Glover
traitors.
here
Bruce
says
fought
that
other
the Boltons
northern
helped us take our
houses
home
to
back, so we're
fight
sort of
for you.
loyal to them. But also, why would the Boltons give it back? We saw them take a castle from the Ironborn previously, and it did not go back to the rightful
I don't care
owners.
about Raven.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ramsay snatches up the
Nice to
Hornwood
meet you
lands.
and
He'd
your
probably
army.
snatch up the bloody Glover lands as well. if he did that
Exactly.
in the books.
Army.
So it doesn't exactly scan.
And of course, they're taking away Stannis' decision to save
Yeah.
the Glovers from the Ironborn.
Bulk of
So
the force is made up of wild
anything good that Stannis does in the books, they remove from the show.
And give it to Ramsay, apparently.
basically.
I didn't dare believe them. I received you out of respect for your father. Now I would like you to leave. House Glover will not abandon its ancestral home to fight alongside wildlings.
And you know,
Not
like
Glover,
some
anything
northern
else to say?
houses
I
would.
remind you that
reject
House
him.
Glover is
Obviously, for
pledged
that
to House
reason.
Stark.
And Sansa like
Want to answer
overplays her
when
political
called
hand
upon.
here. She's a bit in over her head,
Yeah.
thinking that this is going to work.
And I think that, you know, Sansa's directness fails here, so Sansa then becomes more indirect, which makes sense.
We heard of your father's death. When my brother was lord of this castle, he answered Rob's call and hailed him king in the north. And where was King Rob when the Ironborn attacked this castle? When they threw my wife and children in
It'd be nice if we actually got to
and
see this
brutalized
Ironborn
Yeah.
attack.
our subjects. Taking up with a foreign whore, getting himself and those who followed him killed.
So the lesson seems to be, yeah, Rob was dumb, Ned was dumb, Starks were dumb.
Stark is
Time to be a bit clever.
We've just got to be sneaky like Littlefinger. The moral of the story is that you have to be amoral to survive.
Hooray!
It's the opposite of the books. Which, again, aren't finished, so we can hardly draw conclusions, but still.
But, you know, you can still feel the spirit.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, they're at the exact same spot Stannis camped at.
Why? Why do that?
Those mountains are a natural fortification. There's a stream down there for the horses.
You're not staying here long. Another storm could hit any day.
So the Hornwoods of the
Snows
beard.
defeated
That's
Samson
nice
as much
of
as the
them.
mountains did.
We have to march on Winterfell now, while we still can.
Yep, that's their banner flying in the
2,000
back there.
wildlings. 200
Who's ruling House
Hornwoods,
Hornwood now?
43 masons.
62 more.
We hope for.
Because there's the whole dispute in the books with Ramsay killing Danella,
None of that.
declaring himself the Lord of
No,
Hornwood.
none of that. Davos goes off to quell some bullshit
So
because,
he's your most trusted
Everyone
advisor
listens to
then,
Davos.
yeah,
because he
you know,
secured
he was
62
Stannis'
men
hand
from
for a
the
bit there.
So Davos is the reason I'm standing here talking to you, and he serves.
Yeah, that's
Stannis for
weird, isn't it?
years.